Hey guys, welcome back to Zero Rose Typology. Got my special guest, Giancarlo. And you're honestly like, I've always been fascinated by Klaus Kinski because he was such a maniac. And I could never find anyone else that shared this fascination or appreciation for this man, G.
Yeah, I have a friend IRL that I met at a house party who also spoke to me about him. Um, and so when I actually knew about that Werner Herzog, was the director that basically launched a huge chunk of Kinski's infamy or fame, it made sense. I found out like this more gentle sort of like aristocratic five. I think I'm not sure if he has eight or one, the tri-fits, but
Mhm.
I met him and his wife. His wife is like 7'8", like rock star lady, and we were watching Kinski documentaries, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not alone in this. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
the high reactive life.
exactly. It's like
Yeah.
99%, I mean 95% of this man. Of course, I wouldn't want to live with this man. It will be a nightmare. But he was a genius, even though he was such a nightmare to be around for the most part. That's how I would
Mhm.
describe it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was many things. This man also has a very storied lore. Um, I guess that we could start with looking at some pictures of him. And that was like in what initially piqued my interest because he has that almost like face like who is that one actor I'm blanking out on the Green Goblin guy, you know who I'm thinking of?
The Green Goblin guy. I mean, I'm not. I don't know if I. Are you thinking about a musician
Um,
or just actor?
no, that guy, I think he's probably a seven, wing eight. Willem Dafoe. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Willem Dafoe,
Willem
him.
Dafoe.
Yeah,
I'm retarded right now.
yeah. They have that similar kind of a lot of like. I mean, these are pure choleric actors. Kinski is a lot more angry, like wrathful. It's like because the thing is in that in Taylor's. I mean, I don't to everybody else who just knows Enneagram. There's another typology, and probably you guys know temperaments.
hmm
Cholerics usually are described as having better emotional like control than sanguines or melancholics, but I'm not thinking that's true. I just think that cholerics just don't have that wet or vulnerable emotion like crying or pleading that melancholics can have, or that like more gusto-ish kind of charm that sanguines have. But a
hmm
choleric with poor emotional regulation is like Kinski. He's just like wrathful,
Insanity.
rageful,
Yeah.
like imposing. He's
Yeah. Yeah. And like
yeah,
a big range. But also like he had like a little bit of a softness to him, like fuller lips, which in
yeah,
physiognomy means more like in touch with your emotions, more expressive. And but in a lot of these pictures, he's really just radiating. I just keep moving us around. He's just radiating contempt. And he also had the Sampuku eyes where you get like I'm not doing it to mine. The whites showing under your eyeballs because of you can really see it here. Like that's a sign of like deep psychological distress. And this man
yeah, yeah.
definitely had some things going on where I don't think he was officially diagnosed with psychopathy. But I think that was considered for him because you sent me some stuff about him stalking a woman, right?
Yeah, stalking and attempted to choke her, and he was considered a psychopath. As in, it's nothing like the more like checking DSM-5 terms, but he had those kind of outbursts of violence and aggressive, i- like yeah. So psychopathic will be a good word to describe it. Psychopathic, like without going into specific terms.
Yeah, yeah. And then like some things came out, I believe after he passed away, like his daughter, at least one of them came forward and said that he was, I don't know what I can say on YouTube. He was essaying his own daughter. So this guy was very impulsive. He did not have the best impulse control. And yes, a lot of psychopathic traits. I guess nowadays you would say he would be on the ASPD spectrum, most likely. But I figure we could start with this. It's not this one. We've got so many windows open. This is the one you sent me. So this is a great little
Yeah.
intro.
Ich bin nicht der offizielle Kirchenjesus. Er war nicht ganz normal, aggressiv. Vom Charakter her war er diabolisch. Wir waren zusammen ja wie zwei kritische Massen, die eine gefährliche Mischung ergaben, wenn sie in Berührung kamen. Was macht die Kamera drin? Scheiß bei Das soll ich nicht tun, Herr Kinski. Ich entfernte ihn darauf aus dieser Einstellung. Kinski tobte, ich sei größenwahnsinnig geworden. Ich sagte ihm darauf, dann sind wir jetzt eben zu zweit. Was war der Grund, dass ich mir das antat? It's crazy. It's crazy. That's why we work together. Wir gehörten zusammen. Wir waren bereit, miteinander unterzugehen. Egozentrisch ist wahrscheinlich gar nicht das richtige Wort. Er war richtig egomanisch. Die Erde, über die ich gehe, sieht mich und mich mir.
Very 4 and 8, like it stands
Er
out on
stieß
top of the
stundenlang
six.
auf mich.
Yeah, very 4 and 8, you were saying.
Yeah, that he like his egocentrism. I mean, the fact that he's narcissistic makes it even more because he doesn't have the affect of an image type or a gut type. But the 4 and the 8 are, I think, look more obvious because he's narcissistic and psychopathic, like this egomaniac, self-obsessed, like kind of with his own talent, like the mad genius archetype.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And a really funny tidbit that I learned is that he got the opportunity to be in one of the Indiana Jones movies. I think it was like the Temple of probably not the Temple of Doom, one of them. And he turned it down and responded to Steven Spielberg saying like the script was a pile of shit. It's
Very
like,
4-win-3 fits and 8-win-7.
yeah,
Very
like
four,
this
yeah,
this shit is beneath me. Get it away.
yeah. Very
Light it on fire.
contemptuous, extreme of
Yes.
disdain.
Yes, very lots of disdain, lots of frustration.
Keiner tut dich dann meinem Gesicht. Sie wollte mich gegen einen eigenen Irrsinn schützen. Er war sehr, sehr lieb mit mir auch damals und hat mich geküsst und hat mich ganz lang gehalten und war ganz, ganz aufgelöst und sehr gerührt auch. Das Einzige, was zählte, war, was letztlich auf der Leinwand zu sehen war.
Okay, so yeah, like they were both kind of madmen and creative geniuses. So I think they intuitively understood each other and oh yep, Kinski on Letterman. So this is the footage we have of the man, and I think it shows the case we're gonna make that he wasn't a core image type, he wasn't a core 8, he was a core head type. And I thought it was funny that you described him as like an eye bulging chihuahua.
Yeah, even like underneath all that aristocratic pomp of like, I feel like there is this archetype of seats that's the Prussian seats that we usually associate with social seats just because SOSP is a lot more common than this tag that I have Klaus Kinski as. But he's that particular variety that usually, because people usually stereotype the counterphobic seats as being more like groove and tough and being like more 2-6-8ish, more like 9-win-8ish, as in a little bit more like those guys that want to posture like masculinity, whereas he has this kind of like higher art. He's like a high art megalomaniacal, but he has this head type kind of like need for precision. I'm thinking maybe Adolf Hitler could be a similar like archetype. Like people confuse it with four because of that disdain, but I
Mhm.
feel there's a higher need for alignment with an ideal more than just and it's not withdrawn like a core four will be.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you'll see that like the kind of nervous, twitchy head energy here.
Kinski.
Thank you very much for being here. That we
I was a little bit afraid you asked me a set of things to do as the other guy before.
No. Have you ever balanced anything in your face?
No, not this, only this, but I watched you a lot of time. I mean, when I couldn't sleep at night and it's cracking in television, there's nothing left anymore. I push a button, it's always you.
Yeah, I know.
No, I don't mean it bad. I mean, I liked it. It was funny.
Yeah, that's very nice of you to say.
And then I had a little bit pity because I thought it was this guy is doing it every night. He never get any sleep into, and I still believed it when I came here when they picked me up at the airport. And they said no, it's not live. And
Yeah.
so that's what actually could have been a reason to.
Yeah, it would be fun doing it at 12:30 at night, but I think the audience might be a little peculiar, you know.
But no, I'm just naive. If it's night, I think it's night.
Yeah.
But it is a pleasure for me to be.
It's a real honor for us. I wanted to ask you about. We showed some photos of this the vampire Nosferatu. Is that the most peculiar part you've played?
What do you mean exactly by
No,
yeah. Arts country. I don't understand it.
Well, can we show the picture again? See that's what I mean by peculiar.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe shaving my head, and so this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't like the makeup. I didn't want to have the makeup. I hate makeup, and so he asked me so every.
So like a hit of frustration there, like I didn't like the makeup. I hated the makeup. Um, that's just
Yeah.
like real frustration fix thing to say.
Also, we'll say he has a strong 7 wing, so he got a very strong 7-4 overlay. And of course, I mean, the 8 wing 7 has a strong 7 wing as well. So it's like very in the fourth, like a 6-4-8 leading 7-4-8. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And
Yeah.
his hard face was going to add this very double image as well, like very 4-wing 3. So it
Mm-hmm.
also shows up a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that would give him even more like assertive push underneath like the disdain of for the frustration and also kind of like the nervous, twitchy head energy and also being a
Yeah.
core reactive type, a core 6 wing 7.
Day. I mean, weeks before, every day to have this makeup, and finally, I mean, it was just so tiring that I
Yeah.
said, okay, we have it. But I really didn't like it.
Yeah.
Because it took so long, took 5 hours every day to put it on.
It looks like it would be uncomfortable.
But besides this, I don't see big difference between this one and any other part.
Pretty much all the same.
Yeah, that's right.
We have to do a commercial and take station identification, I think, and balance our checkbooks. Then we'll be back. This gentleman is, of course, Klaus Kinski, and Monday on this program, Viva, actress and cult figure, will be here, comedian George Miller, and
See, and like you can see he's not a gut type because he's like, oh, look, he looks so uncomfortable. And like
Yeah.
you like
It's
feel the
definitely.
nervous energy.
Yeah, it's definitely in the head and heart kind of space. God types are a little bit more solid, like in their own skin. He's like you can even see a certain kind of softness, even though it's not very watery at all. It's more like
It's very
like
like electric and charged.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even he has that sort of like crazy genius kind of spiky hair sort of energy.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah.
the king of cheap horror movies, Mr. Roger Corman. We had Werner Herzog on the program a couple of months ago.
I know
talking
that.
about
No, I mean, it was obvious because he was in New York here
yeah.
for other reasons, and I couldn't. But people told me it must be a really good story what he's telling for 12 years all around the world because they told me he repeated his
the
thing.
same stories over and over again.
Yeah, the same story that he put it again on me. And
well, he was here talking about the film that you two did together, Fitzcarraldo.
Yeah,
and you were terrific, by the way.
Thank you.
But he also let me ask you this: how do you and Mr. Herzog get along as actor director?
Not at all.
Ooh.
Same, but I mean, half for fun and half. We were invited some years ago in Telluride, Colorado Festival, and I told them already from before New York, from the opening of the movie, and so because they're always telling the same stories. They don't give me a break this time. Don't repeat this. Okay, no, I'm not.
And there's just tons of constant frustration. Like he's always telling the same story. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. He always had clashes, like
Yeah.
artistically speaking. Always will get into fights with everybody in
Yeah.
every like movie and performance he made.
Yeah, and that's like also as a triple reactive type, it makes sense that he would keep highlighting the negative aspects of whatever experience he had because reactivity does tend to like focus on the negatives. It's kind of like the opposite of positive.
Yeah, I can testify to that as, very reactive person myself.
You get it.
Yeah.
I promise you. And we had a press conference, like a picnic, very, very relaxed and so on. And then at the end, he was telling the same time this story. And they asked me, what I think about it because they were just amused about it. And I said, first of all, I don't know this guy, which was credit in Montenegro. And then I said, I have to tell you that the story may be good, but something wrong because I never put the gun on. We could never put the gun on because he didn't have a gun.
All right, now let's talk about the story.
No, I just want to tell you up. And then he took the microphone out of my hand and I said,
Really?
it's not true. I had one, but I hid it. So he didn't want to give up.
Okay, now let's go back. Now let's talk about that story. The story was that he says that you pulled a gun on him.
Yeah, no, he said there was just a mess in there. I mean, it was very exhausting there, about 40 or 45 hours to get there in the jungle.
Was this on Fitzgerald?
No, Aguirre. Okay, and he said he put the gun on me in Aguirre. And I mean, the Aguirre was 10 years, more than 10 years ago. And we arrived at night without having eaten anything but 24 hours. I really fell in the mud and really sick. And I just screamed out, I said, okay, if this is going to continue, I'm the first one who's going up.
Right.
You're on the way. And he said, if you go away, I kill you. I said, just what I'm waiting for. Just came to my place, okay? And I had my own raft, and then he was coming in the morning, but just apologizing that I mean that was
so it actually happened.
I was the only one who had a Winchester rifle in the jungle. He didn't have a gun.
Oh, so he threatened you. He said, "I'll kill you."
Yeah,
but he didn't have the gun.
He didn't have it.
You had the gun, but you didn't threaten him.
No, I didn't threaten him because there was no. I mean, there. I would have done something maybe without warning him.
Yeah.
No, I don't have to threaten him. Not to kill him, but I mean, just I don't know, whatever. So this happened many times.
So that's a story. That's your that story. Let's go on to now. Would you do another film with Werner Herzog?
Maybe. I mean, when I did the first. Yeah, I mean, when I did the first movie, I haven't spoken to him about 6 years or so. And I always said, I don't want to see this guy anymore. And then he just called me one night at 1 o'clock in the morning. He said if I want to do this 2 movies with him, then I did 2 movies. And I'd say, okay, no, never again. And some years later, I did another movie. So it may happen and then maybe not.
Do you feel like when you're on location or on a set that
Yeah, it's kind of leaving it up in the air, like kind of 6 wing 7, uncertainty.
Yeah. I feel like he's also trying to, even though he's not like being pleading or in that same kind of like fragile or pathetic victim mentality thing that you might associate with other types, he's still kind of framing things as in like he threatened to kill me. I had a gun, but I didn't threaten to kill him, even though I mean that's his point of view. In other, I mean, we were never in the actual like set of the movie that of this. I even forgot the particular name of that, but it was in the Amazonian rainforest. Uh, and from the crew's perspective, he was, and there were even clips of him shouting like in a very intolerant way to everybody in the crew, like to indigenous locals, to Werner Herzog, to other film crew members. Like he was being a complete like tyrannical dick, and I think that he's not, of course, mentioning that, which is kind of the irony of the seats, that seats can see themselves as the little guy, even if they are like the complete opposite, and they just don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can almost like you can sense the anxiety he has about like getting the real story out, which is,
Yeah,
kind of like a sixth theme coming back to like, well, this is the truth though, and I'm irritated with the story that's being told over and over again because it's not true.
yeah, there's a very triple reactive theme as well.
hmm
Yeah, I was gonna add something as well that about the truth. I feel like sixes also have a tendency to get loud, aggressive, like even though because they care about the truth. And even though effectively speaking, it might come across like this person like is like making everybody in distress, and maybe that's my which might trigger even more confrontation. And then from the citizen's perspective, it reaffirms that there was that they were right, that
Mm.
so usually that's
Right.
that.
Right. Like, so like the whole purpose of reactivity, the purpose behind it is to expose the truth. So like you're always trying to like get a reaction out of someone and get like a rise and figure out where people's orientation is.
Mhm.
That you cause a lot of commotion. Oh, you didn't get your coffee. Oh, I'm sorry. Werner or Klaus would like coffee. You want anything in it?
No, just coffee.
Just coffee. I'm sorry. You're exactly right. He had asked for coffee around noon, and okay. I'm sorry. That is silly. Okay, now. When you're on a set on location, do you cause trouble? Do you cause a lot of commotion?
No, there's no. It would be too exhausting to cause trouble because most of the time, whatever the movie is, it's just exhausting enough to shoot a movie.
Yeah.
And then there's no point in. I mean, I did. You said. Well, I heard you said about 180 movies, and I did about 200.
Yeah.
About. Okay. Now no, I had a lot of trouble in my life. Everybody knows it all over the world. It was printed in it. But the thing is, yeah, it's no secret about it. But I had a lot of trouble. But it's up to the guy who's doing the movie, okay, or the circumstances.
The truth is, if you were really causing trouble, you couldn't do 180 movies.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's very logical. Yeah. So if I really
That's right.
deep in trouble.
That's right.
Okay. Now, sometimes I was really deep in trouble in my life, but I mean, okay.
How do you have you seen your daughter? Do you see much of Nastasia?
We call each other wherever it is. I mean, sometimes, I mean, I know, no, in Tokyo or there or right, I mean, a distance of 20,000 miles or so. No, last time we talked over the phone was she called from the Bahamas and I was in California.
Yeah. You must be very
I know.
proud and pleased with her success.
Oh, yes, yes, right. She's in Hollywood now. She's doing a movie. Okay, now, but it is completely the circumstance already. I mean, saying it. I mean, do a movie deep in the jungle. 3 days.
Yeah, and so like also what I see is like again that nervous energy, but Letterman keeps trying to like ping pong around and switch the topic. And he's like, I haven't made my point yet. It's like, yeah, she's in Hollywood. But the circumstances, like he's like trying to get back to his little spiel, though he is doing this six anxious attachment thing of like he is playing along, he is trying to humor him through his like his frustration and reactivity, whatever. But he's like really, really stuck on wanting to clarify his main point. And as Letterman is like trying to navigate the conversation away, he's going to keep trying to bring it back.
Yeah, as a reactive type myself, I wanted to add that as a four. Sometimes I go silent or quiet, sometimes because I feel like whereas sits is especially sits for eights that actual sits for eights, because some people might consider themselves to be that, even though they might have three or two. I've noticed it's like they used to go in this like Hitler-esque, and it's almost you can sense that they keep pushing for the conversation to go to the truth. And for
Hmm.
me, I kind of hold back a little bit because I'm like pessimistic. I think I don't want to turn this into a debate kind of thing. And I usually get more into the details a little bit, whereas I feel like sitses are a little bit more pointed. Like, no, this is what we're going to talk about. And they will, even though has good like image management, like contrary to popular belief in this interview, like he's trying to smooth things out, smile, share some details, being a little kind of almost endearing, which is a huge contrast to his characters or all the things he's infamous for on clips, like him raging at people and all that. He's still trying to divert the conversation. And the
Hmm.
interviewer, I'm guessing, is a three, or I don't know
Oh,
what.
yeah, I would assume six for Letterman, maybe six, maybe
Sits
five, because he's like very dry and sardonic.
like 631 or 639 or something like that. Because he's a little
Yeah, I haven't
like
Yeah, I
SOSP?
haven't put that much thought into it, but yeah, you can see like Letterman's trying to jab at him a
Yeah.
little bit. Because he's trying to get a good show, and Klaus is like on the surface, like humoring him, but he wants to like get back to his point.
Yeah. It's like more competency versus triple reactive, and SxSo far on the very it's close to SPSS. I mean, we could talk about his stack, but I think it also has to do with SOSP versus SS.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
Away from the next
Civilization. Yeah, Fitzcarralla, you guys were buried in South America.
doing a gala, and I had my costume weighed about, I don't know, about 50 pounds, and you just have to defend your life.
Oh yeah.
So because he is so unconscious sometimes that he just in the rapids. So without any safety or so, if you fall in, you just die.
Yeah.
And I remember one shot, he was running in, and he didn't want to listen to anybody, not to the Indians. That we was running in a tree, and the tree cut the raft in the middle, and the raft was always already underwater like this. And I took my knife and I cut my costume, and he was around the shot in a little speedboat, but he was not in danger.
Oh, no.
And then he tried to tell me something, and I didn't let him finish the line. Because if you just don't shut up, I'd throw you to the piranhas, and they have eaten you in about, I don't know, in 30 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is what. On the other hand, it's very easy. They have no. I was turning too fast.
No, it's just a very entertaining
I'm
story.
not clear.
Being thrown to the
No, he looked. No, I mean, we like each other very much.
Yeah.
On one hand, I really, sometimes I can't stand him because it's just.
It's true that directors like having you in their films because you really bring a very unusual presence to the project, don't you?
No, I mean, the thing is, the poor movies I did with him is most of the time we didn't even talk about what we're going to do. He just let me do,
Yeah.
and I mean, yeah, it was good for him to do that. Just let me do that. Well, this, I want to say the circumstance. If you are in a tough circumstance, it is very, very stupid from a director to disturb you, right? He should be. He should satisfied with what you bring. Otherwise, it's just superficial trash what's coming out. So that's why sometimes maybe we succeeded. I don't know, but sometimes people like what we did.
Yes.
On the other hand, he's very friendly, very nice with me. He's just a pain in the. That's all. No, I heard about it. No, sometimes I can't stop it, but I heard about this I remember when I had Good Morning America once. Here, I must say it because it is true. They say I should not say certain words, but I can't have it. Sometimes it just came out.
No, you can say pain in the.
Okay.
That's you can say that, can't you? Yeah, you can say pain in the.
Yeah, and you can see that like little bit of sexy, like uncomfortable, like apologetic. Can I say that? As the core flavor that's going on.
yeah, I agree. And it's like more leveled between like because I think that the thing about four is that four can also have, especially with six or seven with six influence, can be apologetic. But once a four shuts down, they kind of just become more almost like a fly on the wall. Whereas
Yeah,
he
they're gonna
apologizes, but then he keeps
withdraw.
going. Yeah, then he
Mm-hmm.
keeps kind of
Yeah,
going
yeah,
for it.
there's that baseline nervous energy. But also like if he had been a core seven, I feel like there would have been, well, less like overtly, obviously, kind of like wide-eyed Chihuahua energy, but also like he obviously who would have been less reactive, but also less like apologetic. Like can I say that? And also like he did try to so if he had been like say seven, he probably would have owned more of his behavior instead of like really trying to downplay it or make excuses for it. Like we were in these extreme conditions. I was just trying to survive. He was been like, yeah, I'm a brat, whatever, who cares?
Or I'm a genius, maybe like a more kind of like how like because sometimes some eight facers can be resistant to like Brad because it's kind of childish as a word. As in, I would think somebody like like a Tiger Blood actor, Charlie Sheen, he'll be like, "Well, I'm a genius. I am leading that movie. You know what I mean? I am the star of the movie. That's why I demanded these things that they will kind of aggrandize themselves to look almost like 3, even though they are more cuckoo. Like you can tell, especially like a
Hmm.
748, like they don't censor it as much. Whereas he's like kind of trying to appear like the normal dude that was just the brilliant actor that is just, you
Yeah, he's
know,
trying to come across as relatable, even though like clearly he isn't. Um,
yeah.
I did think this was funny. This guy who directed him made this whole thing about how they were contemplating killing him because he was so difficult in ruining their movie. So we can just dive into this quick, and then I'll show this clip where
Mhm.
people can get a sense of like why people kept hiring him, even though he was so obviously problematic.
I made late to direct Klaus Kinski in a movie I wrote. Klaus Kinski, Nosferatu the Vampire, Fitzcarraldo, Gary the Wrath of God, all those great Herzog movies. I was going to get to direct Kinski. There's no direct on the word, not for me. You can say do it. He hated directors, hated them. I called his agent, Walter Kohner. Walter, I'd like to go up to San Francisco and meet Mr. Kinski. Oh, he said. Well, have you read this month's issue of Playboy magazine? There's an interview with Mr. Kinski. First get started 6 fist fights with my crew. And here, not here. That's easy. But I'm here. And I'm here to have my show there, that's for sure. After the first 3 days of shooting, we were 2 days behind schedule. After the first 3 days of shooting, the Italian producer and I decided we had to replace Mr. Kinski. It wasn't working out. You don't know what for. I don't know what to find it. He just said she didn't turn around. And then they missed the whole thing up, you know? That wasn't okay. We called the American producer and broke the news. Mr. Kinski has to go. Bummer, he said. An hour later, the American producer called back. The distribution company, which was paying for our film, insisted we keep Mr. Kinski. His name had marquee value. So I resigned myself to a runaway production with Mr. Kinski. On the 4th day of shooting, I showed up on the set. The Italian producer had a pleasant smile on his face. He explained he had a solution to our problem with Mr. Kinski. He was going to kill him for the insurance money. And he wasn't kidding. I raced to the nearest phone. I called the American producer. He's going to kill Kinski for the insurance money. And he's serious. Bummer, he said. Bummer? Mr. Kinski was an awful man, but he didn't deserve to die for it. Fortunately, cooler heads prevailed. We were not going to kill Mr. Kinski for the insurance money. We were going to bite the bullet. In a funny sort of way, I felt I had saved Mr. Kinski's life, and he owed me. Right? Right. On the 5th day, Walter Kohner found out I had recommended firing Mr. Kinski, and so informed his client. On the 5th day, Mr. Kinski declared war on me. I know when I was more. I know it was right. He began with a full frontal assault. We were halfway through the day. The AD called for sound, speed, camera, rolling, and he turned to me and I said, "And action." And there was this scream. I look over and see Mr. Kinski with his head between his hands, screaming, "Action, action, action." I've made over 200 movies and directors are always saying action. And I looked at Kinski and he pointed his finger at me. There's Moses on the mount. There's Moses in that picture. There's Moses' finger. He pointed it at me and he said, "Don't say action."
Might let you finish your point if, sorry, but I was going to say that the thing is, he will kind of get on people's faces a lot and start, even though he was late, like to the set, he was like, not being, and not, and like, at one point, people were considering killing him, but then he was like, what was specifically his reason for letting him? I mean, of course, that there will be legal trouble or like there will be consequences. If not for the loss of this land, they probably would have do not gotten rid of him. I guess that is that sense that there were professional boundaries
Hmm.
between, like, I think Kinski was creating this atmosphere of like making everybody almost have to endure his presence, and Kinski is not really perceptive, or maybe he was and didn't care. It's hard to tell, whether he just doesn't care or whether he
Yeah.
genuinely didn't notice how he was
Yeah,
impacting with people.
yeah, I think like he did have a soft, sensitive side, but there's that element, and this guy is obviously like low health. Like this is not a normal person. Um,
Yeah.
but there can be this sense with rejection types, especially eight, of like being just they're inflicting their presence on everyone else. It's like anti-attachment, like I'm here. Everyone is going to I'm going to inflict my anger, my frustration on everyone around me, and it's going to be everyone else's problem. But I mean, he was a core six and he did have a soft side. And so, like, Werner Herzog said the actor was actually highly sensitive and thin-skinned, which makes sense being a six with a four fix. Herzog believed Kinski girdled himself as an armor of harshness and arrogance to prevent psychological injury. So yeah, it was like this shell, this exterior of reactivity to protect himself. Um, and then also it was reported that he could be highly charming, affectionate, and even a pussycat in meetings or social situations, and it says occasionally directors manage to capture this gentle romantic nature on film, as seen in Fitzcarraldo. So, and like you had to be, and I do think Werner Herzog was an eight, probably like an 8.54, and like he knew how to work with him, and he knew how to like handle him, to play him a little bit or he would purposely get him angry before scenes so he would like get his temper tantrum out and then be more calm and composed when he needed him to be. But obviously, like not everyone was going to be willing to kind of like put on the kid gloves with him or just deal with the drama. But the movies that they did make together are still widely regarded as like must-see classics. Um, and then I thought we could watch this performance where he was being extremely iconoclastic, and you can kind of see the raw magnetism and the gravitas that he possessed here. Did you have any thoughts, G?
Yeah, the magnetism and that sort of like iconoclastic image is why I think he's SxSo. I mean, I think it's I have a bias towards like specimens that because SxSo are actually pretty rare in the population. But I might try to bring some SS last examples to our conversation too. But the thing is he has very very small tiny social second. So even though he's not because SS is a very chaotic like I don't I mean nothing like that the seven sense more like this stabilizing force of nature. And it
Okay.
seems to me that it's being channeled through the head ideals that he had, and he became kind of this like like how do you say irate, as in someone that's like consumed by wrath,
Hmm.
religious fanatic with Jesus, and he I think that might have been he became obsessed with Jesus, and I think you can see that in this movie. Uh, where he becomes obsessed with portraying this image of being a martyr almost, which I think people associate that with two a lot, but with I think four has its own flavor where they are this like misunderstood genius and especially triple reactive and it's just very compelling. Like his body language, the expression on his eyes, his face, how he moves his hands. You can sense like that's why he was in so many films despite being such a difficult person because his ability to portray intensity, aggression, but vulnerability and
Hmm.
deep emotion is just really, really organic.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, he was extremely compelling. Like I'm like, this is someone you would stop and listen to, even though he is being heckled by the crowd here. Like you can get a sense of just the raw SX magnetism that he did have.
yep,
Mit Jesus
exactly.
Christus angeklagt wegen Verführung, anarchistischer Tendenzen, Verschwörung gegen die Staatsgewalt. Besondere Kennzeichen, Narben an Händen und Füßen. Angeblicher Beruf. Arbeiter. Nationalität. Unbekannt. Decknamen. Menschensohn. Friedensbringer. Licht der Welt. Erlöser. Der Gesuchte ist ohne festen Wohnsitz. Er hat keine reichen Freunde, hält sich meist in ärmlichen Wohngegenden auf. Seine Umgebung sind Gotteslästerer, Staatenlose.
Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it seems that if the image, I mean, the fact that everybody's like booing and kind of like it seems almost like even it's not like he's playing this like read the words of the script of a person that is marginalized. It's just kind of being himself and expressing his passion for this image of the anarchistic, like anti-authoritarian, misunderstood, like tragic hero, which is kind of the image that to portray. And people are like, because of, people know Kinski and his reputation as a person to work with, and they are just. And also, I see like it's really interesting that whenever people with 3-2 or 2 in the try type play this kind of brat or entitled sort of person, especially if they don't have 8, usually with 9, they just kind of play it down as in like, yeah, I'm a, as in, whereas, as in, like when people insult them, they kind of like go like, yeah, I am this, whereas he's just, okay, okay, and then the fury of the word of like, and that more kind of, how can I say, I think he gets quiet whenever people insult him. I think that in 1-2s as well, which makes me wonder if it's about compliant types, more generally speaking, maybe, and reactive as well. Like when because I'm thinking the difference between like, because the character he's trying to portray, I feel like he's at, because if you think like a fanatic sits with a one fits, I feel like he's trying to portray that sort of like Prussian kind of self-sacrificial martyr figure, but it has like this extreme intensity underneath it that makes it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I get the feeling that he probably identified with certain aspects of Jesus as like a historical figure. Like yeah, like you said, the misunderstood, and also a little bit of that like very raw, fragile victim, like the fragile parts of himself that he was attempting to protect, and he's going out on stage and doing this and for laying himself bare through
Yeah,
this performance in a way that's really, really not well received. And like, say if he was three fixed in the heart center, he probably wouldn't have done such a such a bizarre show that would be so poorly received. Um, but he's not adjusting. He's like um just kind of leaning into it more. And we can just keep watching because I only watched the first couple minutes of this.
yeah, it's a great performance. I want to keep watching too. So
Okay.
yeah,
Zigeuner. Prostituierte. Waisenkinder. Kriminelle. Revolutionäre. Asoziale. Arbeitslose. Obdachlose, Verurteilte, Gefangene, Gejagte, Misshandelte, Zornige, Kriegsverweigerer, Verzweifelte, schreiende Mütter in Vietnam, Hippies, Gammler.
So it's interesting, he's like obviously taking this out of the historical context and making it relevant to that time period. Um, did they start like really booing him in this?
Yeah, it also connects to the social second. I feel like he's channeling that psychological obsession to the contemporary culture or times and his cultural environment. And the outcast emphasis as well is very forfeits flavor. I think all the unwanted people of society,
Yeah.
even though he's not adapting or adjusting almost at all, which is
Mhm.
very foreign.
Yeah. And I thought it was kind of interesting and like possibly speaking to like Four Wing 3 and Heart as opposed to Four
Mhm.
Wing 5, like he greatly exaggerated his origin story and his biography. Did you read about that? Where,
Yeah,
yeah, he like played up like all these horrific, terrible things happened to me, like saying his mother had essayed him and blah blah blah. And then later his pal Werner was like, bruh, that stuff never happened. Like he was lying. But it was like it was very much dramatizing because he was like, well, if it's not interesting, people won't read it. And I think that could also be speaking to SX and SO, just like a very iconoclastic, very charged, magnetic, and even like, theatrical, like ne and also needing to be the center of attention. Because there was one story where during the one of the filming of those movies that was out in the jungle, a crew member got bit by like a poisonous snake, and they're way out in the middle of nowhere, right? So this guy ends up sawing off his foot to save his life. And Kinski decides that's a great time to have like a meltdown because he wanted the attention on him. Like, how dare you take my spotlight? So yeah, do you have any more thoughts on how like you're seeing SxSo for him?
yeah. I mean, the thing is, as I said before, like SxSo has a range. There is a colder. I mean, I don't know if you are familiar with this theory because she's and I have discussed the SxSo range in great detail. The thing, like for instance, to me, it's clear. It almost seems social lasting how he almost, but he seems very sensitive to the energies around him, the
Mhm.
cultural environment around him. But it seems that he has such a poor level of it's like he has so much aggressive intensity in him that it will just blast like to an extreme level. The way Isolde describes it is that the sexual instinct has poor like temperature regulation as
Okay.
an instinct of the room, whereas SP just mutes or expression in someone's affect, and social makes it more mechanically perform. Like in the same way that sometimes certain American celebrities might, especially because America rewards women being sensual and things, they might act like the script, like, oh my God, yeah, but it's like kind of just like a thing, something that's taught to them. Whereas assets it can even be largely unsensual and unsexy because it depends on what the like response to the environment is being metabolized into. Because for instance, like and the fact that he's triple reactive magnifies it. So he's uh and like I mean, for instance, if we put him as in comparison with somebody like Goatis, Goatis has a lot of a calmer, less neurotic tone because there is a lot of SP going on, and there is 5 and 3, which are more focused on competence. So SS is channeled through this more logical, almost Saturnian channel, whereas in Klaus Kinski, I want to say there is more. I want to say uh like fiery
Yeah.
channel, as in he's noticing all of he's having all of this cultural uh like for instance the fact like he's like the like society of outcasts and artists, like he's saying the gypsies, the prisoners, the downtrodden, the left behind,
Mm-hmm.
uh which in a paradoxical way is putting himself above, as in the crowd is telling him things and he's just quietly like I want to like another thing about assets, like when it's angry, we can also see sometimes in ones like this kind of quality, which is that when they are upset for real or being interrupted, instead of being like, shut up, man, let me talk, they just go like, okay, okay, are you done? Like kind of that sort of
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
uh
Yeah. And I think like so 4 in heart is withdrawn. And then SP in your instinct stacking adds a certain level of being grounded and also boundaried. So he would have felt incredibly raw and vulnerable and exposed. And there are clips of him where the heckling got worse and worse, where he just abandoned his performance and spent the rest of the time ranting and raving and cussing out the audience. Like, because he's like, yes, this is my personal brilliance. And I mean, obviously, he would feel disrespected, like the crowd isn't getting it, it's not being received well. But also, like the combativeness of 6 and 8, he's still going to put himself out there in this very volatile charged situation, even though it's wounding him. So, like, the rage was very much fueled by feeling wounded and vulnerable. But still, like in that kind of SX way, immersing himself in that situation that would be so volatile. Um, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, exactly. And even reading his quotes, as he was saying, I wish I like the truth is I can never die, or I was born with and when he's saying uh I am not the wait, hold on, let me see the it's much better to look than not to, even if it hurts. It like the lack of SP and the strong forfeits, I will say in him is that even though he might feel extremely vulnerable, he's pretty much like so raw, like expressing that rage at not being understood and being disrupted and imposing, his ideas and his worldview regardless. Like the rage it's like a compensation for how terrified he feels on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think also for like someone who is floor fixed and not particularly healthy, I think that they can unintentionally put themselves in situations to play out continually these like reinforcing victim narratives that they
Yeah,
have of like he would put himself in a situation where he's choosing really controversial a controversial narrative like a spoken word thing and not going to be well received and getting booed off of stage, like it would reinforce this four-ish, I'm so broken but different that no one can ever truly understand me.
yeah, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I feel like all types work in that way, and for Forrest about the world will spit on me because I am this great misunderstood genius that others will. I mean, even though he's still, I mean, with four, there's not as much because he's a six. He's not a 4-4. So he has that more exposed and raw kind of like, I am part of the downtrodden, the left behind, the the underdog, as opposed to this magnificent genius that everybody's like that everybody wish could be Like if you think about Elliot Rodger, for instance, I think he's a forward with the Sixth Streets, and he was when he was about to commit his shooting, he was saying like you guys like kind of with his chin up, saying you guys are beneath me, and I will turn you to rivers of skulls. But he won't actually face a crowd. In that sense, ironically speaking, Kinski is like if a 4-win-3 had actual guts and would put his aristocratic disdain exposed to everybody, basically.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean the eight wing seven was giving him a lot of punch. Like
Yeah,
here, why should I receive a prize? I know that I'm a genius. There's like the obvious disdain and the narcissistic twinge behind that of yeah, just the misunderstood genius and the whole like depravities are real and virtues are fake. That's triple reactive. The hand grenade or gosh, what is it? Forgot the other funny name I heard for that tri-type. The hand grenade, they're very explosive. They're just waiting to blow up. Or yeah, acts of public affliction or something like that. Um, I am not your superstar. He's refusing to like relate and adapt in the heart space. Identifying with pain. Sometimes my heart hurts so much I beat it with my fists.
very ornate.
Yeah. And then also like more heart stuff, like people call me an actor, like what is that? Like basically like refusing to identify in the heart space. Um yeah, so do you have any more thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Klaus Kinski seems to me that acting came to him as opposed to the other way, because I could have seen him in childhood. I mean, I'm just speculating a little bit on what could have happened, based on my observations of people with particular combos like that, is that they, out of survival necessity, they form like this, like performance. Like, for instance, Eminem, out of survival, was writing all of these like really vitriolic, angry raps, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And he became a rapper not because, like, you know how like SOSP and Three can have this, like, I'm gonna be a winner, I'm gonna do this because it gives me status and clout and bitches, and he's just, there is none of that kind of fakeness in this case. It seems to me that he naturally has this maniacal, like, rat, like completely blinded by rat, like passionate
Yeah.
genius, like personality. You can even see it in his face. He's not acting.
Mhm.
That's the real
Yeah.
him. I feel like the
Yeah.
acting
He was a
is
raw
what he's done on stage.
maniac. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's
That's
a good
him.
point. Like he wasn't fake. And it's almost kind of a miracle that he managed to make it as an actor for decades with all of his his personal personal issues. But yeah, I
Yeah, it's if I can add a little bit of my own emotional kind of like sadness about contemporary times, I feel like someone like him will be locked up and people will not be able to discover his talent because I don't know how the times were. I don't. I mean, he was evaluated by psychiatrists, but I feel like in this time and age, like an age, a lot of people like that just get put in a straitjacket. Because people are less tolerant of anger. Like hate is never okay. Like you need to accept everybody, love everybody, and so it's a miracle, that he made the success that he had. I think his
mhm.
talent definitely earned him that success. He was really talented. But of course, if I will meet him in person, I will be able to maybe put up with his negative side if we're working in a set, but I will not want to live with this man. I will not want to. We will just, it will end up in a crime or chaos. The entire house will be torn down. We will be fighting over it. Like, it's,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? It's one of those situations where you admire someone's craft, even if you get too close. It's like, and I feel like people who have 4 and 8 can have that affect a lot, where you admire something of them, but then when you get too close, it's just you can't be around this person. This person is too much, kind of.
Right, right.
Like,
Yeah, especially with the SX. And you can like I think you can really see it just like the like there's something about him that really grabs you. And
yeah,
that came across really well on the screen, though it was this very raw, animalistic thing that he had. It was just very compelling. Um, even though like, he couldn't really he didn't really constrain his more base impulses. But anyways, Klaus Kinski, 6-wing 7, 4-wing 3, 8-wing 7, SxSo.
Yep.
Yep. Well, thanks for joining me, G. It's been fun.